Okay, it is one day after International Women's Day.
Yes.
And we've got a great show because we've got Driving Pursuits KC here.
Yes.
Melissa, Gretchen,
Yeah.
introduce yourselves for us, please.
I'm Melissa Winden. I work for Hub International, and I am co-founder of Driving Pursuits KC.
Wow.
I'm Gretchen Hayes. I work for Hub International as well, and I am a co-founder of Driving Pursuits KC.
That's interesting. So you have something in common. Did you
do.
both? Did you know each other before you founded this? No. Sorry.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit?
Just a little bit.
That's awesome. So tell us, let's just get into it with Driving Pursuits KC. What is it?
So Driving Pursuits KC is a female executive golf training program. So our pros teach our members, our female executive members, how to effectively play the game of golf. So they get to learn how to play, but they also get to network and build relationships out on the golf course with the other female members, but eventually able to have the ability to go out and meet with their clients and prospects and colleagues. And, you know, men have been playing golf for years. So women, a lot of times, it's not something that they are taught at a young age.
Yeah.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But it's a little taboo. So we both needed to learn to play, and Driving Pursuits KC kind of
Came out of that.
came out of that.
And Maureen Farrell was on the show, and she is it's okay to say that she's one of the coaches, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
she's our head pro this year.
That's awesome. She
She's
is a
fantastic.
hoot. Like, holy cow.
She's got a lot of energy. She's been a great addition to our group.
Yeah, and Melissa, you asked me before the show started, you're like, how long do you normally do these things? I promise you, Maureen and I probably could have gone for like 4 or 5 hours.
I'm not surprised.
Like, it was crazy.
That's
So it
awesome.
was so much fun.
Yeah.
She was a blast.
She's
so.
great.
She
And
is.
I'm sure it's great to have someone with that energy level teaching and getting people into the game, because that's kind of what it's about. And I think I want to touch on like a little bit later. We don't have to go into it now,
Sure.
but why you think women don't get into the game. I think that's it's an interesting. So I really commend you both for starting this initiative and getting. And I say initiative, that's the wrong way of saying it, but
Well, it really started out that way, you
Yeah.
know.
We were at a sales conference with our coworkers, our sales force, and we're asked to participate in a putting contest.
okay.
Over our lunch break one day, and we were out at Lloyd, and Gretchen and I were both in high heels, but we agreed to participate, and we walked onto the fairway, onto the green in our high heels, and everybody's going, oh my gosh, take your shoes off,
Oh,
and we
Why?
realized
Right.
we didn't know course etiquette. And so we kind of stepped to the side, and of course we missed our putts and we're embarrassed and all
Right.
that, and so we said, man, we should create a women's golf group to help support women in the community that are like us, who want to get out in front of prospects and businesses and fostering friendships on the golf course. And how can we open an environment for women to be comfortable to learn to play the game of golf? So
That's pretty cool. And I feel like you hear that a lot of specifically in business, because there's a lot of conferences or whatnot that there's a golf function in it,
100%.
And it's interesting that, there are not enough women in the sport playing. And that's frustrating from my standpoint, because I think what a great audience to help grow the game.
Oh yeah.
Because there's just a pool of talent that could go out there and play. And I think from, understanding Driving Pursuits KC and just in general of golf it's so much more than that. There's
is.
so much, like you talked about the etiquette.
Sure.
You just talked about the etiquette. I believe growing up that I did play golf, when I started when I was 6 years old. I've learned so many things of how to be, nice to people, how to be appropriate, say
How to
thank
read
you.
people.
Yes, how to
Yeah.
read people. And that's one thing. It's interesting because like someone gets upset on the golf course or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
You're kind of like,
We've been there.
that's a
yes.
measure of
Measure of
true
character,
colors.
Right, exactly.
having a Happy Gilmore moment, and
Who they really are comes
their
out.
club.
Right.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't. Who was it that? Gosh dang, was it the last tournament? Somebody threw a club. Oh, it was Billy Horschel. Did you see this?
I did not.
I haven't. I haven't watched the video, but I just saw the title of like the article or the social media. It's like. He threw it to the moon. It was orbiting. It's like still orbiting.
I wanted to do that. I wanted to do that.
But you never actually have.
So,
No.
so is this something that's taught in driving? Is the proper throwing technique?
No.
Okay.
Not that. Not driving, yes. Throwing the golf club, no. No.
If you were, hypothetically, let's say that you were going to throw a club, how would you do it?
I'd probably, I imagine myself throwing it over, like arm over.
Like tomahawk?
Oh, I'd
It's
go
done.
full
Yeah, tomahawk.
swing,
Okay, tomahawk.
Full on
full
tomahawk.
swing,
You're getting the arm
up.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Baseball thing
Okay.
here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that is, it was like holding the bat and like warming up the shoulders and then yeah.
That's funny that you say that though, because golf is it is really, you have to be in your head, right?
Yeah.
You have to be in the right headspace.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What I loved about it and, learning to play and what developed over, just over one season is that it became my release, right?
Okay.
So, I'm married. I have 3 young boys, demanding career, and getting out on that green with a bunch of kick-ass women is amazing in of itself, but we're all in different playing fields, right? Mm-hmm. Some members have already played, can kind of play.
Yeah.
Some play pretty good. Others have never picked up a club. Mm-hmm. So when we get out there, it's not like, you're over here in this group and I'm over here and I'm afraid to even try and swing this club in front of you. It's more of like, don't be afraid. We're here for you. It is a non-threatening environment.
Very
and
much.
If you get outside of that headspace and you start thinking about things, work, family, all that other stuff, it can really affect your game.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's huge.
You can't carry it to the course.
No.
Whatever you experience during the day.
Is going to come out, and that's when you would throw the tomahawk. But I love it so much because I just get to be Gretchen, right? I get to be Gretchen, learning a skill, meeting a bunch of cool women, growing our networks, and it's all organic, right? Nothing is scripted when it comes to the networking. That was the biggest, happiest byproduct of driving pursuits. That is actually, these women are learning to play. It's a scheduled curriculum. Mm-hmm. The pros put that together so that everyone is learning from how to grip it all the way down to reading the green and etiquette and, what are the different aspects of the fairway. They learn everything. But the networking and the camaraderie.
It's been such a reward to see the friendships and relationships that have been fostered as a result of driving pursuits. I mean, it's a reward that I don't think either one of us expected. I mean, we truly went into this as a foundation to learn golf, right? And then everything else, as Gretchen said, happened organically, and it's been awesome.
That's pretty cool. And I think, it's probably, it warrants the discussion of, you're talking about, and correct, it's 12 sessions. Mm-hmm. Oh, and those are hour-and-a-half long sessions, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then there's half an hour of networking afterwards.
It usually runs
longer.
I would imagine. That was my first thought. I was like, they're not getting time to go, ladies.
Yeah.
It's been a half an hour. Linda, you got to leave. Yeah.
There may have been a couple of later evening ones.
Oh, I can imagine.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Some beers, some wine,
definitely some rosé. Yes.
Yeah. That's so go back. Okay, so you missed the putts.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Talk about what I'm assuming you didn't just like, let's start a driving pursuits KC. What was that? You probably got into the game of golf after that, I'm assuming.
Sure.
So what was that?
So neither one of us had really played. Neither of us had clubs. We'd never taken lessons. I played a little bit with my grandfather when I was younger, but nothing serious by any means. So we just started having meetings together and saying, let's set aside, a couple hours a week to figure out what this thing could look like. How do you, file articles for starting a business in Kansas?
Yeah.
And, I mean, really everything from the nuts and bolts. And then, picking out our pros, starting to meet with people in the golf community like Sally Kristen, and a couple of others who were really great leaders for us in the beginning. And that was back in 2018. So it did take us about a year and a half to, get all of those operational things lined out before we officially kicked off our first season, which was in 2019.
Holy cow. So you went into this as learning golf yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
We hardly knew anything. I took a semester of golf at Johnson County just because I thought it'd be a great way to meet boys. But what was interesting, and this was in my early 20s.
Are you married to one of those boys
No,
now?
I'm
Okay,
not.
right.
I'm not.
He is a golfer.
But he is a golfer. But no, most of the, I'd say of the class at Johnson County, half of them were women, which is really interesting to look back on, which lends itself back to what you were saying, like, women just are not, it's not a sport that they are just taught right off the bat unless it's something that's inherent in their family or it's a sport they're already interested in. Mm-hmm. And that was part of our conversation, right? So when we were starting Driving Pursuits, we're meeting with male, prospective clients and centers of influence who are, let's go out and hit some balls. Let's go take a client out and let's go play 18 holes. And, we're like, we're like, we don't play. Oh, you can ride in the car.
Or being invited to scrambles was something that we were declining all the time.
Oh, gosh.
So many of those opportunities in retrospect.
Yeah. And we needed to learn to play, but we wanted to really level the playing field with, our other male counterparts, but we were also running into other women that were saying the same thing.
Right.
Women who are C-suite level, managing directors of businesses, killing it out there in their industry and really just doing amazing things in Kansas City. And then somebody would ask them to go play golf and, they step out onto the green and they don't know what to wear. They don't know where to stand. They don't have clubs. It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So driving pursuits, what our pros do is we just kind of diffuse that bomb, right?
I think I love that. And I think it goes beyond. I think that's awesome that you're doing it for women, but I think that's a problem in golf in general too.
Yeah.
Of a buddy of mine who's doesn't play a lot of golf, but I asked him to come out and hit balls with me.
Yeah.
And I took for granted that he would have no idea where to go,
where to park, where to walk to, where to get the balls, who to talk to. Yeah, and there's a lot that goes into it.
And I feel bad saying this, but like I was blown away. He's like, "Where do I go?" And I'm like, I'm out on the driving tee.
Yeah,
and he's like,
no idea.
What is that?
Yeah,
what is that? Where is it?
And for a guy, we've actually been asked from a high level of seriousness if we'll do a men's version of this, because there's a lot of men out there. It's like you take their man card if they don't know how to play golf.
They're less likely to speak up.
Yeah.
About that.
Because it's taboo, right?
Yes.
For him, unless he's your really good friend, he may have been like, "Oh, I don't want to tell him that I don't know how to play."
No clue.
Yeah.
Where do I get ranked? And I think that is so critical, and that we don't do that enough.
Correct.
In terms of some of the things I was hearing you say of like when you go out and you're working with people or the pros are there, you're going out and playing with them, you're helping each other.
Yeah.
And I can't think of the times, and I feel so bad of like you're in a group of 4 people or whatnot, and let's say 4, 3 are great golfers, 1 is not.
Yeah.
No one is helping the weaker golfer out, which is so bad.
It is because everybody's thinking about themselves,
Yes.
Yeah.
What's wrong with us?
But that's also something that I've learned about golf is that people are focused on their own score and their own improvement and their own mistakes. And so it is less about, thinking about, I'm doing terrible compared to everybody else.
Right.
People are focused on
I had somebody that has always said, and I love this thought of like, no one cares if you play good or not, just play fast.
Yeah.
Like, don't slow them down.
That
is, but I think what you're getting at with driving pursuits KC is the fact that they need to have a foundation to be able to do that. It's like, don't show up. Your tee time's at noon. Don't show up at 11:55.
No,
exactly.
Ready golf.
We were just talking about
ready golf. Like you got to have the right gear. Are you playing on are you member guest? Are you playing at a private club or are you on a public course? Right. And what are you supposed to be wearing? Do you have your tees ready? Do you have your ball? You have everything ready to go. So you're out there ahead of time. And that's something we have to, really explain to the members too. And they have to understand that when you're coming for the lesson, it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And when you're going out after you've gotten comfortable and, you've been through the program or maybe you kind of already can play, think about who you're playing golf with.
Yeah.
What's their level of comfort with etiquette? Everyone is a little different. Yeah. You have to know
you need
how
to
to
set
ask
that expectation if you've invited them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very good point of I think expectations is a huge thing just in life in general of setting that expectation. Cause you end up, making too many assumptions.
You do.
Specifically when you go play golf, you're like, everyone's going to know what's going on. Yes.
Yeah. Raising my hand too. I mean, cause everybody's skill level is different. And so, we do try to break people up with our pros and the different skill level and what they're learning.
Is awesome.
But the cool thing about golf is like, you're always learning, right? You can always be better. Yeah. You have to practice. So we've got our returning members from the first year who like, this is just our 3rd year starting and they come back every year.
Well, in 2020, you didn't do it.
We weren't able to get on the course.
Yeah. So 19 was the first year. Second year, you weren't even able to do it.
Right.
Really.
Thanks, Corona.
Right. COVID.
We were too big.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Well, which is what's funny because, so many people talked about golf was the only thing you could do sport-wise and go out, and they were doing all this, but our group was too big.
Oh, yeah.
Too big to formally meet.
Yeah.
People did a fairly good job. I think a lot of our members did do a pretty good job of going out on their own because it was something that, they could do. And that was great to see too. For the members that had already been through the program, they probably wouldn't have had that foundation to go out and play in 2020 at all.
Well, it was an interesting year. There was kind of that period of time, late March, early April 2020.
Yep.
It was like everything was shut down.
Yep.
And then it was like No one knew if the courses were going to open
It's different all over the place.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like we play in a Tuesday night league and they canceled it.
Right.
And we didn't know if they would bring it back or not, you know, out at Sycamore, because we were kind of concerned. It was like, gosh, because golf courses did so well revenue wise, they didn't have to have leads or anything to help generate that income coming in, you know, like, and so I'm glad they are doing it again. Good. But I can understand that might have been a worry for you all going into 2021 of will we have a place to go?
It definitely was. And we're so happy that, you know, the COVID is hopefully coming to an end.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're even happier that most of our members stuck it out and we're able to, you know, get through 2020. We started with 13 members our first season.
Wow.
And now we have
and two of those were her and I.
Yeah.
Like, that's one thing that people forget all the time. Like, because we co-founded it, you know, when we're just talking about it to anybody, they'll like, oh, well, you know, what's your handicap? You know, where do you play? What club do you belong to? I'm like, remember,
we're very much beginners as well.
We are beginners. We started this because we don't know how to play. Right. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. And we still don't, you know, we're still learning, you know, just like any new beginner is. But, you know, people are like, well, when are you going to feel comfortable? I'm like, that's a great question.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, we set expectations for ourselves too.
We'll be chasing this golf game, I think, forever.
Forever. Yeah, that's exactly. It's the endless sunset. Yes. The endless summer there. What has been like your aha moments for each one of you as you've gotten into golf and understood maybe a different aspect of it, or you had a preconceived notion of what you thought it was going to be like? What, you know, if you're this new into it, what are some aha things that
Gosh, I definitely think that, you know, I thought, okay, if we take lessons and you know, get on the course a few times, then we can probably understand the base of golf and then go out and get better on our own. And now what I've learned is, you know, you have to be very consistent. You've got to go out to the driving range a couple times a week, ideally. You've got to get out and play 9 or 18 holes once a week in order to improve your game. So it's not really a seasonal thing where you can just go through this program or work with a pro for a certain period of time and then assume that you're going to be good moving forward.
That's a big one.
The human learning curve is true. It's like you learn, and it's just if you don't keep doing it.
Oh, it is. It is. And it's frustrating too, because you're like, oh my gosh, I was doing so great. And then when you haven't picked up the club in like 3 months, and then you pick it up and you're like, oh, I'm back to square one.
Feels like I've never touched this club before.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and for me, I think that, and also understanding the mechanics, right? Of your body movement.
Right.
So what I was thinking I was doing, and I'm talking in terms of rotation, and what I was actually doing, completely misaligned. Very different.
So you saw yourself on video.
I did. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So
that's because Maureen,
Coach Mo,
videotaped us.
She did. Like that's what I love about Coach Mo. Like she's so direct, and she's so we were at Lake Riviera last year, and 2019, and I like, Coach Mo, get over here. What am I doing wrong? And she goes, okay, give me your phone. And she took my phone and she stood behind me and watched me swing. And she goes, you're not fully rotating. I'm like, yes, I am.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, you're not.
You're right.
And then she showed me, and then she showed me some exercises. So they implement everything. So I still pull that same video out and I pull it back and I look at it.
Wow.
I do, because it's hard to feel, right? It's muscle memory, that part of it, and understanding the athleticism behind it, you know. And Coach Sally was really good about that too. She also teaches, you know, yoga for people who play golf, because there is
flexibility
a mechanics.
is so important.
It's really important.
Sounds like an up and coming episode of Gripping Golf.
Yes.
Huge.
She's amazing.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it's all about. But you know, what I think is so great about it is people are, you know, their expectations are, I'm never going to learn to play, especially women. Like, something that's been on my bucket list, and you know,
I'll get to it later.
I need to find a pro. I need to find somebody. There's so many. Next year, I got to do this first. I got to do that first. I don't have clubs. I don't know who I'm going to play with. In Driving Pursuits ticks all those boxes for them. So they don't have to be nervous, because they're playing and learning with other female execs, right? So membership is been driven 100% through referral.
Right.
So we don't advertise for membership.
11 members in the first year is pretty darn good.
Yeah.
That shows you, you know, how
I guess,
much of a
I'm sorry,
need.
13. I was removing you two from it. Yes, I'm sorry.
Correct.
Yeah.
But there is such a demand, and I think that number speaks to the community in Kansas City and women and their desire to learn.
I would speculate and think that the younger executive women that are in the working environment, that this is really important to them.
Sure. Yep.
And I think that is really just a neat thing to think about, because the growth in that aspect of the game will be immense. I mean,
we have 24 members going into this
year,
this season.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
holy
confirmed.
cow!
Yeah, so I mean,
and it's all referral, like
all
you're saying.
referral.
So the original 13 have gone out and found additional members.
And
that's
then
awesome.
Just us, it's grassroots, us talking about it. So, we just, when we're meeting with other female execs, we always bring it up. Or what happens sometimes is, because we built this network of female executive golfers, they play golf together now.
Right.
And that was part of it too. We wanted them to be able to learn together. And then when they get comfortable enough, they can have other members to come out and, invite. And so sometimes we would get, we get text messages, we get emails, we get phone calls. I want you to meet so-and-so. She would love to be a member of she'd be great for DPKC. So-and-so is so interested, this is something that she's wanted to learn, and I can't believe that I didn't know about this.
Right.
So that's what we love about it, is it's the need, and it kind of fills us up. Like the need that not every day do you come up with a idea that has got such a need that resonate with other people, right? Sometimes you think your idea is amazing, and then you launch it and you're like,
never mind.
Nobody else cares about this.
Exactly.
Not driving pursuits.
Right.
And
it's been unbelievable to see how many women there are.
That's
in Kansas City
that's. I mean, I say, wow, I'm shocked, but we really shouldn't be. I mean, I think as you were saying, it's like, I should have done it next year. I need to find a pro.
Yep.
I'd be curious to know, like, what those sound like excuses to me.
Sure. It's intimidation.
Okay. That's what I was like, there's got to be like a root cause of the intimidation.
And for everybody, sometimes it's 10 things. For some people, it's 5 things. Sometimes it's 1 thing. But, we try to address all those, from, it doesn't matter. You don't know how to grip a club. It doesn't matter if you don't have golf clubs.
Right.
Like our pros have some that you can borrow, and they'll even recommend some starter sets for you.
They'll set up a fitting for you. They'll help you vet, depending on your budget, because golf, can be a very expensive sport, but you can start with a used set and where to go to find those. All of those pieces we've covered for them.
It's interesting. It's interesting to think about, like, they don't know how to grip a club and they think they should know how to. Why would they ever know how to grip a club if they've never tried to play golf or anything? But I'm drawing back into like my own life and thinking, like, good gosh, I do this all the time. It's like, I don't want to go there because I don't want to be embarrassed. Or like, it's like filling up your car. I'm using the weirdest example, but it's like if you didn't know how to put gas in your car,
you wouldn't go to the gas station.
You're just like, I don't drive. I walk everywhere.
I refuse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me. But there's some, the psyche, the human brain is causing us to stop and not pursue this.
Well, you don't want to fail, right? You don't want to fail. So for a lot of these female execs, they're used to their challenges they face in the work world, right? Personal life, everything else. But because there's so much unknown and consternation surrounding golf and, all the different elements that they don't know and don't understand or have never been introduced to, that they just fail to launch, right?
Yeah.
So part of the program that we implemented from the start, and it's grown this year. So we also have a mentorship program within the group. So we have 4, hopefully 5 DPKC members, mentors this year, right? And what they do is they are already women executives in the Kansas City area that play golf already, have played for years, play in tournaments, some damn good golfers.
Usually, sometimes business owners that host their own golf tournaments.
Yeah.
They're women that are members at clubs throughout Kansas City. So go ahead, Gretchen. I didn't mean to.
No, you're fine. That's exactly right. And the purpose of the mentorship side was, okay, we've got the pros to teach them how to play. They're going to network together. And if they choose to do business together, great. That's an awesome piece. But now they know how to play golf. How are we going to help teach them how to play golf with prospects or play golf with clients.
Yeah.
Like, how are we going to help diffuse the, oh gosh, I've just learned to play, but now I got to play with my client. Who do I play with? You know, what if I whiff the ball?
Win?
Yeah.
Right.
What's that etiquette, right?
Do I talk business on the course, or
Right.
do I
How
wait
much?
until?
What if I get a call from my kids? What if I get a call from the office? You know, what if they get a call? What do I do?
Right.
So we thought it would be really important to have, you know, a liaison or, you know, an advocate for them to go to and be like, okay, how do we navigate this landscape from a professional standpoint with golfing? Like, when do I go out and play with a prospect first? And can I go out with you? Will you take me out? You know, it's also a relationship building aspect there. So we have them come to our, a couple of our lessons and kind of talk to the girls. They'll be at the meet and greets. And then they're at our end of season scramble every year. So everybody can get to know them and, you know,
They rotate through the foursomes, working with each group individually. So for a few holes at a time.
I'm like, where do I sign up? You know, because like I don't even know like the answer. You know, it's like what is appropriate. So that's awesome.
And it's not autopilot, right? There's a good way to do it. So we're trying to set them up from success from the get go, because what do we know? Like unlearning old habits is way harder than just learning something from the beginning the right way.
The right way.
So when we had one of our mentors at our very first meet and greet, Angela Hurt, we had her talk about one of her first deals she won on the golf course and how that went, and, you know, how integral that was to her. And, you know, everybody, it just kind of clicked, you know, they were, oh, wow. Okay.
Deal being like she closed.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
On the golf course. And, you know, if you've ever met her, I mean, she loves golf. She plays golf all the time. So for her, she's just a really important advocate, for the members. And then Jolyn Bartolotta, she's a VP at Fogel Anderson. She got out and talked, when we played a scramble, part 3, she was talking about how important it is to be ready and understand who you're playing with and what's ready golf. And here's how to get invited to a tournament. Here's how to not get invited to a tournament. So those are the things that the pros don't necessarily have the same scope or same perception.
Totally. Yeah, I would totally agree with that. That's, you know, what I feel like I'm hearing, and maybe I'm wrong and correct me, but it feels like your own path as you're going through your own program is helping you create the criteria of what you would have these mentors come in or coaches talk about.
Sure.
Is that true? I mean, that's pretty cool to sit there. Yeah. It's like ever evolving. It's like in real time.
It's been so organic. I mean, just from the beginning, and the reason that we came across the idea and started to launch it. And so, you know, each time we hit the next milestone, whether that be in our own careers or feedback that we get from our members, then we make adjustments or additions to the program through mentors or pros or new courses. We want to try to rotate to different courses throughout the city to try to get exposure for people who may want to join some of those courses in the future.
So what courses are you at now?
Right now we're at Sykes Lady and St. Andrews.
Cool.
We were at Lake Quivira for part of 2019 as well, but this year we'll be at those two.
That's awesome.
Limiting some of that because of COVID.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just keeping it simple.
And is that potentially because of that's where your members are at? Is it? Do you take that in consideration, or is it just like, or let me put it this way? Maybe that was a consideration in 2019.
It was.
Okay.
Absolutely. It was. You know, and that was also us being green, right? Like we envisioned it being like, we're going to have lessons at different courses. We can go anywhere, right?
I think we reached out to Leawood South, Brook Ridge, Lionsgate, you know, all kinds of courses and just talking to people in the community is when we realized some courses are private and some are public, and there's etiquette there.
Yeah.
You know,
can't come there? Okay.
and dynamics, you know, between pros and their respect for each other and trying to maintain their own, you know, communities and things like that. So
and that's really important, especially with a group as big as we are. We don't ever want to be a burden, right? We want to, you know, be partners with these golf courses. And so, but at the same time, we want to provide exposure to our members. I mean, they're going to learn to play. They're going to be wanting to join a club themselves. So if we can build these partnerships with, you know, public and private clubs, you know, part of what you talked about in the future for strategic initiatives was to potentially grow driving pursuits, where we have a club membership for driving pursuits, so that we can have a home membership. So, you know, we want to be able to work with those golf courses that have that partnership ideal aligned.
That's so many questions. Sorry, are running through my head. I'm just like, it seems like you get, a lot of women that have just various different ideas of what they want to do. Some that just kind of want to learn golf, but some it's more tactical than that.
Right.
Maybe it's more career based.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay.
And that is one of the questions that we ask when they're considering membership or we're vetting them for membership too, is what is your end goal? Because it's important for our pros to know that too.
Right.
We have a wide range of women who really are committed to and focused on their golf game and want to improve that. And then others who, may just be more interested in, learning golf over time, but really fostering relationships and networking is more important to them. To your point, and both are totally fine.
Yeah.
We just want to make sure that we're providing for each one of those people exactly what they need.
Well, I can only imagine what it's like to want to go do something, but you don't have anybody to go do it with.
That's right.
Where the failure to launch happens.
Yeah. And I'm gathering also the fact that I'm sure that there's outside of the regular 12 sessions that you're doing, these women are probably getting together and golfing on the weekends or whatnot. Is that?
Yep. So we actually not even halfway through, probably after the first 2 lessons of season 1, we're like, we need to facilitate them, making them get out and practice after.
Right.
So we started putting on the calendar and making that part of the curriculum unsupervised practices. So there's no coach, no pro, but everybody is on there. And then we have a group app that we all text on. So we can share ideas like, what are you wearing right now? Like, anybody got any great, anywhere, golf skirts, golf shoes, we can share information back and forth and be like, all right, who's going tonight? I'm going. I can't go. I have kids. Oh, I can't go. I have a meeting. So we know who all's going, and then we could practice together.
And then we can also reference the curriculum and the notes from the prior lessons that week.
Oh yeah.
You seem very serious about the fact that you're getting together outside of this, but I just feel like it's an excuse to go have some drinks.
It might be. That's
a part of it.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Like we said, we say it's organic. It is. And, you talked about vetting.
You're talking about the wine?
That too.
The wine is
all
organic?
No,
no preservatives.
Not so worried about that.
No, not so much. But that was huge for us because we didn't want it to be a free-for-all, right?
Yeah.
There have been other organizations in Kansas City that have been based around female executive membership, and they've, for whatever reason, they've split off into different segments. Maybe some of the women went to, moved away, some retired. So it wasn't just female executive focused, right? So now that we're really filling that need, that's huge for us when we're vetting potential members,
right.
So we both, we'd like to do both, but usually we'll do an interview and we'll sit down and talk to them. And, almost most of the time they are referrals from current members. So they are like-minded. But that's really important because we don't want to have any toxic relationships. We don't want to have anybody who's in there to, cherry pick or, take advantage of the relationships and the group that we've built. So that's really important to us.
And we
go ahead.
Set the expectation with anyone who is going to, join us that they're really going to need to be committed to, showing up at the courses and making the lessons and things like that. So.
I would imagine that wasn't a challenge 2019 and 2021 to worry about, is everyone going to get along and stuff like that. But I would imagine as you grow, which you're growing very fast, that will become more of a challenge. So do you see through the vetting process, what is the vetting process? What does that kind of look like a little bit?
Well, it's a couple different steps. So usually if someone's referred in, we have a survey that we kind of use at first. It's a filter. So it kind of sets it up right from the get-go, right? So we're working with female executives. So we're providing an experience for them and there are certain expectations. So there is a survey they fill out and based off how they answer kind of lets them know what the experience is going to be like, what they get as part of the membership fee, what the fee is so that they realize, oh, I'm going to pay this amount of money, but I'm going to get this full experience. This is everything they're providing, down to the tactical pieces, to the curriculum, to the courses that I'm going to the other women that I'm meeting with, to the gear, to the swag. I mean, everything is thought out so that if they're not committed to the actual program, we know right off the bat based on how they answer. So after we get through the survey, then we set up calls and we meet with them and kind of talk to them. We prefer face-to-face, but COVID has kind of done some virtual things there. But that's how we get to know them. And we pick their brain on why they want to join and what are their expectations and, what do they do? And, what's their experience with golf? And a lot of times we'll ask them, what's your most embarrassing situation around golf that's happened, and we get some funny stories.
Many to share.
Yeah, there are many to share, and many still to come. Okay. Trust me, there's many still to come.
Of course, that's golf.
Yeah, yeah. That's exactly right. So.
What have you turned? Sorry, just intuitively, I want to go. Have you turned anybody away?
We haven't. And what I was going to add to the survey process is that, it really is a very clear outline for them on everything that's included, but also what our fee is and what our expectation is for their commitment. And then the final answer is, are you comfortable with all of the above?
Yeah.
Really. And so if anybody gets to that point in the survey where they're, maybe they've made the decision at that point that they're not a good fit or now's not the right time, they don't usually proceed. Yep. Okay. So we don't get to that interview step. So we don't decline anyone. So the interview part is just more for us to get to know,
totally. Yeah. It's kind of an evaluation.
It really is. Being like-minded is important. I did meet a great gal that was a referral from one of our members this year, and she's not a female executive anymore. And so she's like, oh my gosh, the member that referred her was just so excited. Like she kind of forgot that part. And she goes, I love what you're doing. You guys are doing amazing things for women in Kansas City, and you're really an industry disruptor out there. And, but I would feel bad taking someone's spot because I'm a stay-at-home mom now.
That's a good point.
Yeah. But, and I'm like, well, thank you for, because I was feeling the same way. But I said, hey, I'm going to put you in contact with Coach Mo because she knows different groups around the area where you live that you can join that are for stay-at-home moms that want to learn to play. Like her husband played, she wanted to play with him. And that's another huge perk of a lot of our members.
I think that's really good that you didn't, I feel weird saying this, but didn't let her come in but she also wasn't the same opinion because I think that one time that, let the mom come in.
I think that's what's happened in the past. So that's when we have to maintain the integrity of the program.
I love it. I think that's smart.
There is a population of stay-at-home moms or, women who are not working who may be a great fit for a different arm of DPKC at some point.
Totally.
And so we want to, keep ideas open to service that community as well. But for the integrity of this group right now and what we're trying to accomplish. It's working.
Build it, make the foundation really good. And what I mean by foundation is actually the foundation of it. But but then move into different avenues of it. Sure. And that kind of leads me at what's next? What do you see, maybe 5 years in the future?
We have big dreams.
Such a cliche question right there. Look into the
field
future
of dreams.
Yeah.
One of the things from a strategic standpoint is we'd really like to build out a separate mentorship program for the high school clubs, the golf teams, and not us trying to help them learn to play. Let's be real here. They're probably going to teach us a few things, but it's more from the professional standpoint, right? So you're learning to play right now. You're playing on a high school team. You love it. Don't lose that through college. Keep a hold of that. If you're going into a career, even, doesn't really matter what career path you're going into, golf can be an extra conduit for that, So just because you get busy with other things doesn't mean that you should stop. And, golf can also be an avenue for other opportunities, right? And we really want to help foster that. So that's one area from more civic focus that we're looking at.
That's pretty cool. Because you do hear, I feel like I've heard a lot of women say, I played on our high school team.
Yep.
And then it's like, oh, I never played again. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. So. Another 2021 initiative is diversity and inclusion. So we're really looking to grow community awareness about driving pursuits.
Okay.
And get, outside of our Johnson County, bubble and really just partner maybe with a nonprofit like Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Okay.
Getting some littles out on the course with us.
That'd be cool.
So, just really focused on that piece of improving the community in Kansas City.
That would be pretty cool. I could see that those kind of go hand in hand a little bit.
They do.
But that would be, I won't ask. I was going to say any talks yet on that of getting in touch with them at Big Brother Big Sister, or is it too early to say?
I'm on the BIG board for Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Okay.
So yes.
Okay. Wait, so have you been in our office then?
I have not been in your office.
But you know that we were part of that, right?
Did you host the Christmas party? Or?
We did the bowling thing, and then every year someone came over.
For kids' sake. Cool.
Yes, yeah. Okay. And then every year someone came over and talked to us and tried to and gave the pitch of getting involved.
Great.
And so Kathleen Hong was involved.
Yeah.
And so So she's not here anymore, but she was awesome.
So are you going to do Bowl for Kids' Sake this year?
I don't know. I'm not on the culture club.
I think it's yes. It's yes now.
Dang it, yes. Yeah. So no, that's awesome. Yes, for sure. And I can put you in touch with somebody that would be the person to talk. I'm sure we are. Actually, you might have met her, Judy, out there. She might be doing it. So awesome. That's awesome though. I didn't know that. Yeah. So really cool.
Yep. I've been a big for 5 years.
When you were saying diversity, I thought you were going to say like we're going to let men come into the group.
Again,
so I was like so excited.
But then we talked about at the beginning.
Maybe a big, big picture thing. But
gotcha.
We've also talked about, and this may have to be cut out of the
maybe.
But potentially going to other markets, taking this idea to St. Louis, Chicago.
I think that's
Wichita.
awesome. I was curious.
Opportunities.
That's the big, I think, big picture goal.
I don't see why you couldn't. You just have to create the curriculum to make sure that I think control would be the.
That's it right there. That's it right there. I mean, and being able to control the experience and manage that on a national level is important, because like we talk about, we want to maintain the integrity. We want to maintain, the learning experience and make sure that all of that still stays intact. And that is like a whole other job, right? For sure. People are like, oh gosh, you run this and you're both benefits brokers. Yeah, we are.
That's a whole nother can of worms.
That's
People
a whole
are like, aren't you guys competitors?
Like, no, we work together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we both do the exact same thing. And we actually work together on clients too. So,
well, you both prosper in that if,
exactly
feed one another.
We can't help but not want to hang out with each other. It's
right.
True story.
Yeah, I can't tell that at all. Yeah. You seem to hate each other. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, we don't have a lot of time left, but at the same time, what would you both say to let's just hypothetically a high school girl that is potentially going into playing on the golf team? What advice do you have through what you've learned to them? Because I don't want to just single out women in general in this aspect of it, but because I think there is a problem with just the society that golfers that we push people away. And so I think that what the advice would you give that high school girl that's getting into golf and you want her to stay in the game, I think is what would you say?
Everyone has been in your shoes at one time, and stay consistent, keep practicing, and focus on what you're doing well versus the mistakes that you've made.
Yeah.
That's good advice.
I would say be strong and own your own agency.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it. Don't let anybody tell you don't have time for it because you have all these other things going on, because the game of golf will serve you in so many different avenues of life. You need to live a balanced life. If you are not focused on any other sport and golf is your sport, then keep it. It's going to help you keep other things in perspective. Then as you move through the joy of it, you've got it from a business aspect. It's something you can teach your kids.
Right.
It really can encompass lots of different areas of your life, whether you go into a career focused area or you go into, you're going to be a stay-at-home mom. It's still a great sport to get out and play and enjoy as a family. So owning that agency and not succumbing to it's a good old boys club.
Right.
Yeah.
It isn't.
Get that out of your head.
Get that out of your head and, focus, find your core group of other women you can play with and other girls you can play with and have fun.
Yeah. I think that's interesting. What I heard in both your comments is that's not just golf related. That's life.
Absolutely.
Like a little bit of and I think that's what you're really teaching is in life, you're going to have challenges and you need to push through those. And this is just one way to teach that of you didn't know how to grip a golf club. Right. Now you do know how to grip a golf club. Now you know where to park your car.
Right.
It's such a confidence builder.
Totally.
It's huge. And you build on so many different areas of life, which is why Big Brothers, Big Sisters makes so much sense, because you want to build that foundation. We, one of the things that we teach in closing is, with our female executive camaraderie is, we own our own agency as women, as ourselves, but not too often do we build ourselves up, right? We tend to stay quiet. We don't toot our own horns. Right. So we have to build each other up. We have to support each other. Don't put yourself down. Don't feel bad. I don't care if you just whiff that ball 15 times. You can do it.
Yes.
And if you're having issues, she can help you. She can help you. Here's a pro. I hate pulling out this out, but we're all in this together, right?
Exactly.
That's what it's all about for us with Driving Pursuits is don't do it alone.
I think it's, I think about that joy of whiffing it 15 times and then that 16th time
you nail it
and you crush it. And it's just like, yes. I mean,
so liberating.
When I taught lessons, that's what I would tell people all the time. I'm like, listen, I know you're down right now.
Yeah,
but the minute you feel it's going to resonate in your entire body when you hit that shot, and you're going to be like, it didn't feel like I hit anything.
And that's what keeps people coming back to the game of
right.
golf.
Yeah. Or it's that one shot, in a round that you're like, gosh, a buddy of mine who he works here in Kansas City. After every round we would play together, he would always ask everyone in the group, what was your shot of the day?
Oh, nice.
And you really had to sit back.
Steal that. Yeah,
it's really good because you sit there and you have to go back and think about, gosh, dang, what would my best shot of the day be? And it's not typically what you think it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, it's the drive I crushed on 11.
Yeah.
And that's such a good way to highlight the positive
yes.
out of that day
like
that lesson.
We should add that.
Yeah.
I think
steal that from you.
That's fine. That's not mine. But I can relate to the confidence side of things because I've struggled with a tick in my own swing for very long where I couldn't pull the trigger. And it is 100% confidence. Yeah. And it's almost to the, like, this year I'm like, 2021's the year. It's going to be gone and stuff like that. And I went and played the other day. And I just had this mindset of you're going to approach every shot like you want to hit it and you're going to have fun hitting it.
Yes.
And it was night and day. And people who listen to the podcast probably hate listening to this because I talk about it all the time. But when you have like a mental block, it is the hardest thing.
You can't get past it.
And that's,
there's so much of that you can apply to outside of golf.
Yeah.
Yes,
to your personal life or work life. And
like if you don't know how to gas up your car, just get in your car, drive to the gas station, figure it out.
Figure it out. Yeah. Take a friend.
Yeah. Walk inside, go into Quick Trip and ask them, how do I do this? Yeah. So, well, thank you both so much for coming on the show. Tell us how can people get in touch with you? For if there's women out there that are interested in joining the group, how can they do this?
Yep. So they can go straight to our website, drivingpursuitskc.org. There's a contact link on there. They can go on there and fill that out, and it goes to the both of us. Okay. So it'll go straight to us. We'll get their information and we can reach out.
Yeah. I think that's how I contacted you, but I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
We also do have,
Yeah.
we've got social media too. So you can find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram.
Driving Pursuits KC on all 4 of those.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you both so much.
Thank you.
This was a blast.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. Yeah.